Welcome to another episode of the Anime Village podcast. I welcome on a very special guest. It is Eryn. Eryn is a cosplayer. Eryn, you might have seen Eryn on TikTok and on Instagram, and she has her own YouTube channel now. Eryn, thank you so much for joining the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, this is super exciting. I'm really happy to have you on. Love what you do in cosplay and like how like detailed your characters are and awesome, like how great they look. But I want to kind of start back into your background of like what got you into games and anime that kind of led down this road of cosplaying.
I've always been a gamer. In fact, the first memory of my entire life is me playing Sonic 2 on the Sega Genesis. So, I've been playing games for most of my life. I didn't get into anime until college, I think, and maybe even after. So, anime is later in my life than video games. But as soon as I started watching anime, I had some old friends that I knew from school, and they found out about it, and apparently they were really big into anime, and so they were like, hey, you should come out to like a Comic-Con and you should cosplay, because at the time I was still doing dance. And so because I have a very long, extensive dance background. And so I'm used to the costumes, performance, makeup, all that stuff. And so my roommates, which were the friends, my roommates at the time were like, come to this Comic-Con. It's going to be so much fun. Come and cosplay. You'll love it. And they were right. So yeah, the first time I went to a Comic-Con, I was in cosplay and I just immediately fell in love with the whole world. Everything, costuming and characters, was just an immediate love for me.
That's awesome. That's great. What was the character you went as at the Comic-Con?
Winry Rockbell from Full Metal Alchemist, because at the time I didn't really know how to do wigs. And I didn't really know if I would be comfortable wearing wigs or anything. And so my hair at the time was down past my waist. And so and it looks red here for some reason, I guess because I'm sitting in the shadow, but it's like a strawberry blonde. And so I was like, perfect. I don't have to wear a wig. I can be Winry, and I can easily kind of make this costume to come together, because I just thrifted some items and I dyed like a shirt and pants that were white to kind of be like the khaki color so they would match, and got the little black tube top, and then walked around with a toy wrench.
That's
And
awesome.
so yeah.
That's awesome. So that like led you into cosplaying. What did that start like getting into different characters that you wanted to dress as? Like what kind of led you to keep going into the cosplay world?
I don't know. I've always been a creative person, and I guess I just immediately really loved it. I had done acting like 1 year when I was younger, and I really enjoyed doing characterization for that. And as well as dance performance, a lot of times like you think of dance as being like ballet, which I mean they do have characters in ballets, but it's not very emotive necessarily. Some people feel it's very stiff, but I did a lot of contemporary and jazz, and I did like a lot of dances that told stories, and so I often played roles on stage, so it just kind of made sense to me. It was just another way of like role play in the arts. It just was less about a I guess choreographed performance and more of just like embodying the character. And so after I did Winry, I was like, oh my gosh, I love this. And I immediately, like when I got back home, was like, okay, who else can I do? And I think I immediately scheduled going to another con, and I think the next con was in a couple months after that. And I added, I want to say, a little sister from BioShock, and it had to be another blonde because I still wasn't wearing wigs. I think it was like little sister, and then I think it was like Medusa from Soul Eater.
Oh, cool.
Because again, my hair was long at the time, so I could pull it in the front and do the silly little like twisty braid. but yeah, I know I was immediately like, oh, this is it. I love it. I want to do more of it. And at the time, though, I didn't know that it could be a job. I just was enjoying doing it and enjoying like taking photos and talking to people about nerdy stuff because I'm old enough that when I grew up, nerdy wasn't cool.
Right. No, I know
Um,
that.
and so I was just excited that it's kind of like, it sounds silly, but it's kind of like validating, and it's like an easy way to talk to people because, you know, if you're in like a Full Metal Alchemist cosplay, then people assume you like Full Metal Alchemist and
Right.
they'll just be like, "Oh my God, let's talk about Full Metal." You know what I mean? So it was just a brand new world of people that were into the same things, and I don't know, it was just very exciting to be able to do a different kind of art than I had previously done.
Yeah, I mean, it's awesome that you're able to get into it and then start building on more characters, but I also like the part that you mentioned where it's like your nerdiness kind of gets to come out and like you get to enjoy it with other people, which I think
Yeah.
like the same thing with me. Like when I was growing up, I think like in high school, I'd watch like anime and my friends would not like that. Like I wouldn't even like mention it. I'd be afraid to mention it in front of like some friends who, so
Yeah.
it's like interesting to see like how it's gotten so popular and now like
Right?
cosplaying is like such a it's cool. It's like such a
It
cool
is
thing.
cool.
Yeah, it's great that you get to like show that personality that other side of your personality, the cosplay and everything like that. So that's awesome.
Mhm. Mhm.
What's it like too to like get a cosplay character and like get the characteristics down of that like cost of that character? Do you like watch video or like how does that work?
Um, most of the time, the characters that I cosplay are ones that I'm very familiar with. I tend to be one of those people that watch the same things
Yeah.
and play the same things over and over. If I really enjoy something, one time through is not enough for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
And so I usually like, before cosplaying a character, I usually know like a handful of like audio lines that they say. So for me, it doesn't take a lot of work most of the time. There has been a few times more recently when I started doing it professionally. I started taking commissions from different audience members, and essentially they would say, "Hey, I really want you to cosplay." Let me think of a good example. I want you to cosplay Tifa Lockhart from Final Fantasy, and then basically I just quote them the price, and then I handle the rest and deliver what we agree upon. And so Tifa being my example, I hadn't never played Final Fantasy, but I really liked the aesthetic.
Yeah.
And so I was like, no, I'm willing to get into Final Fantasy to do this. And so I still sadly, I really want to play the games. I still sadly haven't played them, but I did spend, I think, over 10 hours just like watching gameplay and reading her backstory. And I feel like if I'm gonna cosplay somebody, I want to do a good job. So personally, I like to do a pretty long character study for my commissions because I don't want to, you know, if someone comes to me and they want me to be that character like Tifa, I don't want to do a bad job. You
Right.
know what I mean? They're paying me to do a good job. And so most of the time I usually know the characters well enough to just kind of get into it immediately, but sometimes I'm having to do like lengthy character studies, but like day of, as far as like getting into that characterization, I pull up photos of the character to do like makeup and make sure everything is like, you know, the hair is parted on the right
Yeah.
side and that sort of thing. But as far as like the actual characterization part, um I I wish that I could say more about my process. I think naturally that's something that comes easily to me, and I know it doesn't always for other people. And people ask me this question sometimes, like, how do you embody the characters so good? Because you know, one minute I'll be like really scary and the next I'll be not scary, I'll be like cute or, you know, something else or serious. And I'll like cosplay Jinx one day and the next day is Elizabeth Comstock, and they couldn't be more different. And I unfortunately don't have much I can say besides like I guess I'm very expressive with my
Yeah.
face. And so I think it's easy for me because it's like I can turn on Jinx like that. I can, you know, open my eyes and look crazy, or then I can just like be serious the next second. Um, but I would say as far as characterization as well, besides just being kind of naturally gifted at it, when I was a little kid, this sounds really crazy, but I used to like study how people and animals moved.
Oh, interesting.
And I don't know why. I don't know why that was interesting to me, but I remember being like 6 and like watching. This is a very specific example, but I would watch that part in Lion King where it had Simba running in slow motion. And I literally used to like practice it. And I know that sounds crazy, but like rare random talent. I can like run like a lion quite quickly still this to this day. Um, but I guess I just watching how people move is kind of innately interesting to me, and just being able to like watch something and immediately change my physicality to match like their gait and like how they move, it just makes sense. But again, I used to do that when I was a kid like a weirdo, and then I'd had years of dance, which dance is watching someone do movement and interpreting it into your own body to match. And so I think naturally what I'm interested in, and then also like the years of dance, I think makes that quite easy for me because I can pretty immediately just adopt mannerisms like that. So luckily, I don't have to work too much on that part. But there are some characters that are more difficult. Like I do brooding or crazy really well, but like cutesy, I feel like I feel like a little cringe sometimes. So sometimes I like do something and like I'm like, that's not good enough. I'm not
Yeah.
selling it. I have to do it again. And so sometimes I have to like really get in the mindset of being like cutesy. I'm like, how do I be cute? And I have a really good friend that I collab with a lot. Her name is Paris Cosplays. And she is the polar opposite of me. And she is always so cute. And sometimes she'll text you like, hi, Eryn, I'm trying to do this cosplay and I'm trying to look scary. Can you help me?
That's
And so like I feel like we both have to channel each other's energy. So when I'm trying to like the time that I cosplayed Starfire, I was like channel Paris energy.
yeah.
So sometimes it can be challenging if I'm trying to do something that's like super cute because I'm used to serious villain,
Yeah.
crazy, one of those things.
Yeah.
And so occasionally cutesy can be a little challenging, but
That's understandable. Well, at least, hey, it sounds like you have like a natural talent for it though, and it's very interesting that you started at such a young age, just like watching people's body movements and
yeah.
being able to run like Simba. So we gotta see that video somewhere.
Oh
That has
my gosh.
to pop up somewhere.
There's gonna be a TikTok one day of me running like Simba. I used to do, this sounds really crazy, but I used to do like dog shows for my family, and they would
Yeah.
gather in the living room and they would just call out a dog breed, and I would run into the room like the dog breed and like make like 2 circles and run back out, and they would just be like Chihuahua, and I'd come in and do my lap and leave. And then they'd be like German Shepherd. I'd come and do my lap and leave. And I would just like work on my like animal gait. I don't understand why, but that was something I did. And I think it helps me.
I love it. Well, it's awesome. It's obviously worked out. I mean, you do have great expression in your pictures. Like I've
Thank
seen
you.
some of the photos that you posted, and yeah, you do a great job of expression. And I'm like, I can't even express that sometimes of like my emotion. So I might have to take some tips from you and your friend to learn how to be better with expressions. But that's great. What's the post though that really started to get everyone's attention that maybe that you thought like, okay, this could be something here?
um, I think the first thing that I think the first thing that made me think that it could be like a job or something that I wanted to pursue more than just very occasional hobbyist. I was at a convention and I was cosplaying Elizabeth Comstock from BioShock Burial at Sea. So the 1950s cigarette kind of
Yeah.
cool girl vibes. And I remember I was just like kind of taking a break, and I sat up somewhere in like the main area, and I have a little bit of an RBF, and it works really well for Elizabeth. So I'm sitting there with my Arvia in character on accident. I'm just holding my fake cigarette with my naturally relaxed face. And I remember people kept coming by and being like, I don't know who you are, but you look so cool, blah, blah, blah. And then somebody, I think I was asked several times for a business card, and I was like, now why on earth would I have a business card?
Right.
What would I be selling? And after talking to some people, they were like, oh, we thought that you were a professional cosplayer. And I was like, what? Say what? I could do this as a job. And so that kind of started the wheels. And I'm either severe ADD or just like have no cap on ambition. Whatever it is, I can't like put my idea brain to rest ever. It's constantly like, what if you do this? What if you did this? What if you did this? And so immediately I was like, all right, we're going to try to monetize this. It's going to be fun. And then shortly after cosplaying her, I was like, okay, I want to do something the polar opposite of like classy Elizabeth vibes. And I remembered seeing the Jinx video from 2013, her Get Jinx, her original release video.
Yeah.
And I pulled it up and I watched it again, and I was like, that's it. I love her. She's amazing. And I immediately fell in love with her character, and I studied everything that Riot had at the time, lore-wise, on Jinx, and of course her sister and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I was just like immediately like, I love this. I love this. I love this. And I had friends that played League at the time. I didn't. Now I do. But I remember being like, that's my next thing. That is very opposite from Elizabeth, because I wanted to show range.
Yeah.
And so I was like, this is going to be my first costume. I make 100% from scratch, including patterns. And I did. And I remember posting it. And at the time, Arcane hadn't come out yet. And so there was like barely any Jinx cosplayers out there. And I remember my Jinx was so popular at the time, and it really helped boost my Instagram. And everybody was like, oh my gosh, you're the IRL Jinx, blah, blah, blah. And I remember looking it up, and I guess it's kind of funny. I'm actually the canon like size of Jinx too.
God,
and so I was like, yes. So I found my canon character. And I kind of got like the lanky golem limbs that she's got going on. And so it's like, this is perfect for me. I can 100% have bad posture and look crazy. So but yeah, I remember Elizabeth did really well, but then when I did Jinx, then my Instagram shot off pretty immediately. Yeah.
That's crazy. Well, that's awesome that like it works. It's funny how like a character like that just like will pop up, and maybe the timing was Arcane coming out around the same time you did it, or was it before?
No, this was when I made my first Jinx cosplay. I made it in I think it was 2018 or 2019. Wow. So I made her first skin, and then the next year I was like, okay, everybody loves Jinx. And so then I made for Christmas, I made her ambitious elf Jinx skin. And then the next year the Arcane trailer came out, and based off the trailer, I made Arcane Jinx in time for the release. And oh my gosh, that was such a stressful crunch, because I was like blowing up the trailer on the TV and like on my computer and taking screenshots and trying to figure out what does the back of this thing look like. I have no idea. I can only see it for like a split second because it was just the trailer. But every single time I do Jinx, it always does really, really well. I guess most of the audience at this point like knows me as Jinx, and I always have my profile photo as a Jinx at all times, just because it's people like it, so I'll give them what they want. I'm okay being known as the Jinx. That's okay. I have my Jinx chair.
That's awesome.
So yeah, I honestly I can't stop with my Jinx stuff. Honestly, she's just become, partly because of cosplay, but she's become such an integral part of my business, but also kind of my life. I'm like, if it weren't for Jinx, I wouldn't be here. So I'm like ironically very grateful for remembering a random character from way back and being like, that I want to do that. And then it just blew up.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Well, that's great that it worked out, and obviously it's working out now greatly for you. What's it been like to, first of all, has like League of Legends reached out to you at all about being like any promotions or anything like that?
That would be so cool. So it is my dream to do something for Riot. I don't care what it is. I would love for it to be Jinx.
Yeah.
Maybe one day they'll realize that I am the canon Jinx. Maybe I need to be emailing them. I don't
Yeah.
know. That would be the dream. Do I did a League of Legends cosplay advertisement for Logitech, actually, but not for League, but it was specifically for League of Legends characters. So when they released KDA, the like K-pop group
Yeah.
a couple years ago, I was so blessed. They reached out to me to do to advertise like the headset that I'm wearing and the keyboard that they gave me, and they gave me a mouse pad and a mouse and a bunch of stuff. And I just had to like wear one of the cosplays and show off the items for 2 TikToks. And I was like, yes, I will gladly cosplay for you. League of Legends is great. I love the characters. And so that was exciting. But no, I haven't worked for Riot specifically yet, but that would be the dream.
I
That
hope
would be the
so.
dream.
Well, Riot, if you're watching, please get Eryn on.
Please, Riot, sponsor
Yeah,
me.
please. Yeah, please make
I
it
will
work out.
continue making Jinx skins for as many as you keep releasing. I'm gonna keep making them. So
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. So, what's been the biggest thing about seeing your popularity grow, but also like doing the business side of cosplay? Like, what's it been like to watch your popularity grow, but also being on the business side of everything?
um man, that's a hard question.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot I could talk about. Uh I guess just like with the popularity growth, I'll start there and then talk about the business.
Yeah.
Obviously they're very related. Um I think so I think it was easier to get popular when I did and before. But I
Yeah.
feel like now it is normalized. There's a lot of cosplayers out there, and I feel like because of that, which is great, I feel like it's harder though, because now, back then, like I said, I was the Jinx in
Yeah.
Texas or the South. I'm not sure. I'm sure there was other cosplayers that did Jinx, but far and few between. But now, like, you literally can't go to a con without seeing like 5 Jinxes walk around. And so trying to get into it now, I think, is more challenging. But then I felt like the algorithm was a lot more forgiving.
Yeah.
And I think it's because of how many people are cosplaying now, it's saturated. So, like, if you go to Instagram, if you went to Instagram like 5 years ago, type Jinx cosplays, it was me and like 3 other people. Now, how are you ever going to find anyone's post? So I
Right.
think, I guess what I'm saying is part of the popularity was like good timing
Yeah.
and picking characters that weren't done a lot, like, really worked out for me. But it was kind of crazy. It was very exponential, and then it like has plateaued. But I feel
Yeah.
like that's pretty much everybody's experience.
Right.
You can't be like, there's no way to keep like that constant momentum. Um, but it was really wild because I remember being like having just a couple followers, and then I went to a couple cons, and then I just like exploded, and then I made a couple TikToks, and then that was like, I went from like 700 followers on TikTok to like, I think 300,000
Oh
in
my
like
God.
3 months.
Holy crap, that's
And then,
crazy.
yeah, but then it's like literally the same. It has
Yeah.
literally sat there for like
Oh,
2 years on TikTok. Um, so it's weird because I feel like it comes and goes. I'm pretty good at separating myself from my public self. So luckily I don't get too upset or hung up on follow count. Um, but I remember being like, kind of waking up and being like, I could fill up like football stadiums, like, you know, worth of people. Like if you add all these people up, I remember thinking like that was insane
Yeah.
and telling my parents about it. They were like, you put on costumes and it made you famous.
Yeah, it's like, what does that mean? Yeah.
I know. And my dad is always like, hey, can you get me tickets to this? I'm like, I'm not that famous, Daddy. I'm sorry, Dad. Oh, if I get there, I will surely get you tickets to
Yeah.
anything you want. But that was really crazy. It's surreal. I still don't know that I fully like comprehend that. And I went to a convention. I didn't even announce it recently, and I wasn't even in cosplay. I was just normie, and somebody came up to me outside and was like, oh, "You're a Thorin." And I was like, "I am." And they were like, "Oh my god." And they like freaked out, and I was like, I'm not even like in like something to
Yeah.
recognize me by. So that was a surreal
That's
experience.
awesome. Has anyone asked you for an autograph?
Um I don't, well, I mean, if I'm boothing, I
Oh,
give
okay.
them all day
Yeah.
long. And then I do Patreon. So I send prints out like every month and
That's awesome.
autograph those and have like a store and I autograph the ones that I send. But it's kind of weird. But luckily it's like it's kind of I mentally separate the two. So it doesn't really occur to me that I'm mildly internet famous.
Yeah.
Um but doing it as a business has just been a trip. It's both very freeing and fun, but also extremely hard. And it can be upsetting at times just because how well you do is like based off of if people like something, you
Right.
know? And so you can sometimes put a lot of effort into something and it like flop and you're like,
Oh.
ugh. And then, you know, you'll be like, I guess I'll just do this, whatever. It'll be quick and easy. And then people are like, oh my God, I love that. And you're like, what? I have no idea. Like that happened with me with Spider Gwen
Oh,
a
really?
couple of years ago. Yeah. When I cosplayed Spider Gwen, I was like, oh, this is quick and easy, blah, blah, blah. Zip up suit, bada bing, bada boom. And it ended up being one of my most popular characters. And I've sold a lot of Spider Gwen stuff over the years. So you just really honestly never know. Um, but it's been wild doing it as a business. There's so much to unpack about that, but it's a wild ride for sure.
That's awesome. Well, congratulations on making it a
Thank
business
you.
and everything. So good for you for,
Thank you.
doing a passion and a dream. And obviously you're very good at it. So it's really cool to see that come and turn into business. I didn't even know you could turn it into a business until you told me on people off air. I was like, oh, I had no idea. So
Yeah.
that's awesome. You recently started like a YouTube channel. What's been the process of being on YouTube and building out that channel?
I don't really know what to do with it. I kind of am feeling out what kind of content people
Yeah.
want. And so for a while or for a few weeks, I did some vlogs and they did okay. I feel like they're hard to keep up with because it's hard to be like on
Yeah.
throughout the day in spurts and remember to like document what you're doing. I'm very forgetful and I will be like in the middle of doing something and being like, I never recorded this. Oh, I never did that. And so like the vlogs were kind of tough for me and I felt like there were a lot of effort to edit and I didn't necessarily feel like I feel like some people really really love them, but I didn't feel like they were like the people's favorite thing.
Right.
And so I've been doing uploading more of just like short form content that's like costume specific things on there. And it seems like people like that. I might do I might try to branch out and do short like clips of like behind the scenes
Yeah.
more so on there and see if people like those. I have released a few actually like really high quality videos, like in character videos, over the span of doing cosplay. But it's really hard to do it. I'm not going to do it myself. I do some self photography, but I am not going to self record. There's like no way I'm
Yeah.
doing that.
Yeah, yeah, that's that's tough.
There's no way. And so sometimes when I work with my friend John, he's an amazing photographer, and he does a lot of my like bigger projects. I usually save for him because I know he'll love it.
Yeah.
So like Siri, I saved for him because he's a big Witcher fan, and I knew that he would want to shoot that. I was like, there's no way he would let me shoot that and him not be involved. And so sometimes he'll record if we have time. That's the key. If we have time, then we'll like record a video. But most of the time when we're recording like an official video with his like fancy camera and the gimbal, usually we have to be shooting somewhere that is not like a paid studio, because if you're paying per hour, you're trying to fit a photo shoot in for like an hour or maybe two, and then
Yeah.
trying to add or record it, it's a lot. And so usually we try to do the recording if we have enough light outside by the time that we're done with like something. So we did one for Tifa, coincidentally. I was talking about her. We did one for Tifa. I think I did two for two different Harleys. And then I think I did a lot last year for Halloween, and I uploaded those, and those were really scary. I did like a really bloody vampire, and then like a ghost looking elf. She was really terrifying, white contacts and everything.
Oh wow.
I was like scared when I saw those photos. I was like, oh, that's
me.
horrifying.
Yeah.
I remember sending them to my mom, and she was like, honey, that's so scary. With her sweet Southern belle voice. And I was like, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Achieved.
Yeah. Scared my mom. But yeah, it's YouTube's been interesting. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with it necessarily moving forward, but I'm still uploading stuff on there. The audience is different.
Yeah.
But it's been fun so far.
That's great. Yeah, YouTube's an interesting like journey itself, like trying to like figure out what's gonna hit and what's not, and like randomly posting. Like I would try to post shorts and like I'd get no views, and then the next day I get like 1,000 views on something. Like I don't know. I don't understand how I post at the same time. I don't know what
I can't figure it out either. Like when to post, I can't.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I've been doing so much research on it. I'm like, this isn't working, but I'm trying, I guess, to like figure it out. But yeah, YouTube's an interesting journey itself. But
definitely.
well, at least you're making the effort to do it, and and continue to do it. And that's great that you're able to do some videos and get them up there. And I'm sure you got some stuff in the works, as you mentioned. Yeah.
I do.
Do you have any cons coming up soon, or anything coming up?
Yeah, I do. I will be I won't be a cosplay guest, but I'll just be attending Anime Frontier in Fort Worth, and I think that's mid-December. I'd have to check. And then at the end of December, though, I will be a cosplay guest, panelist, and judge at OkiCon. I think it's in Norman, Oklahoma. I'm pretty sure. So that'll be fun. And then for next year, I'm working on bookings right now. I do have one confirmed, I think mid-February in Houston. I think it's trading card gaming con. I forget. I'm sorry. But yeah, I'll be doing that mid-February. And then I'm working on some other appearances for the rest of 2024. This year, I think I did around 15 guesting appearances. So there was a lot. Maybe I won't do as many next year because that was chaos. Trying to do 3 photo shoots every month and do all those cons. I was like, y'all.
That's a busy schedule. That's a lot.
Yeah, they got a big Texas y'all about it. I'm trying.
Yeah. Hey, it's the best. Well, that's awesome. You're able to book some and get some out there. Quick question, just that's not gonna be on the podcast. How are you like doing on time? Or am I holding you up on anything? I just want to make sure you're good with everything.
I am good.
I know we had like a little bit of a late start because of me, so I just wanted to make sure that we're okay. So
no, I'm good. Yeah, we can go as long as we need to. I don't have anything until like 6:30. So
okay,
I'm
perfect.
good.
Yeah, I got like a few more questions, and then I'll ask you about like my company Anime Village, what we do. I
Mhm.
sent you the link, but I'll explain it. What we do, we're just kind of like a anime. We create our own mangas and then we create our own like games based off those mangas, and then
Oh,
we
that's
just
cool.
like yeah. So it's like kind of like a world that we have going on.
Oh.
So yeah, yeah. So I'll uh, I'll ask you that question towards the end. So just I got like a couple more, and then about yourself, and then we'll follow up with that.
Okay.
All right, perfect. We'll get back into it. So it's great that you're able to do all these cons. I hope maybe that you can get some cons maybe on the East Coast, can maybe catch you up here
That
as
would be
well.
awesome. I'm
Yeah.
trying. I'm actually so in 2023 I stayed mostly in the South. I did one in New Mexico and I did one in Oklahoma last year. Um doing one in Oklahoma this year. So I was staying in the South, but I am talking to cons not just in the South. I'm talking to them everywhere in the States and even overseas.
Nice.
So no promises, but I would love to spend some time talking to some people that I love Texas and I love the South, but I just want to meet some other people too. I want to spread the wealth, right? So
Yeah.
hopefully,
Yeah.
hopefully
That'd be great. Overseas would be awesome too to get
this would
over
be
there.
awesome.
Yeah.
Ah,
Take full advantage of that. Hopefully that works out.
that would be amazing. I have a lot of cosplay friends overseas that I really want to collab with too. So
Okay.
I'm like, please, I want to visit you guys.
I hope it works out. If yeah, we'll try that. I
We'll
hope
see.
that happens for you.
I'm
Um,
ambitious, like I said. So we'll
yeah,
see. I don't know. It might be crazy, but
I like it. I like it. Maybe you could do like a tour over there. Maybe hit up like
yeah.
UK and go over from there. That'd be
That
awesome.
would be so fun. And like shooting in like beautiful UK castles and like Scotland with like, rolling hills in the back. So like in my brain, I'm like all of the photo shoots I could be doing. You know what I mean? Like I can't turn the like business brain off. So yeah, that would be the dream.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Dream.
Well, I love it. I love the business brain too. That's great.
um,
I just want to ask some questions about yourself. What do you like to do for fun outside of cosplaying? Is there something that you enjoy the most, or
man, what do I even do for fun outside of cosplay? It used to be cosplay.
that is fun though. It's dope.
It is fun. It's still fun.
Yeah,
Outside of my job, mostly I've been getting back into playing games for me. I was streaming for a while, and I feel like when you're a content creator, get stuck in this mindset of, oh, I could be making this into content. Oh, I could be making this into content. And you have to be careful because then suddenly your life is signed away to content.
yeah,
Um, and I felt like that was happening with streaming. I was giving so much of my soul to content all the time with the cosplay stuff that by the time I was streaming, I was like so drained. I was like, I miss playing games. Like I
yeah.
miss being a gamer for me. Like I started streaming before I did cosplay actually. So I was streaming a lot. Back then I was streaming like absurd hours of Skyrim every week. It was
Oh my
like
God.
15, 20 hours of Skyrim every week, and I was working overtime at my job. Woo, good times.
Jeez.
I did not exercise. I barely slept. It was great. My mid 20s were a riot. And then I found cosplay. But I felt like since then, I really just haven't played games just for me, and that made me sad because I'm like, I am here because of games. Like I'm here because of Sonic the Hedgehog. I'm here because of Skyrim and Jinx, and I'm like, it felt almost like I was doing myself a disservice by not like filling myself with just like natural inspiration, but it was
Right.
like forced, if that makes sense, because I
Yeah.
was like, gotta make the content, gotta make the content. Um, and so for a while, I kind of stopped playing video games just because like it stopped being fun. I really enjoyed streaming when I was younger, and then right now I'm just not for some reason. So, but maybe I'll come back, but now I'm not. I need a break. And so lately I've started playing video games again and I like really enjoy it. And now I can't like wait to play video games
Oh,
by
that's awesome.
myself or like play with friends. And so Lately I've been playing The Witcher 3
Oh,
because of my Ciri cosplay. So I'm back in the Witcher world, and I've been also like listening to the books and stuff. But I'm excited to play like games just for myself again. That's something I've just so greatly missed. And then I've been playing a lot of Dead by Daylight with my cousin and
nice.
one of my good friends. It's a chaotic group of people. And so yeah, and I was playing, I'm on like a short break from League right now, because
Okay.
I feel like you can play too much League and you can need a break.
Yeah.
And so I played a lot of League in the past year, a lot of League. Um, but yeah, I like to do that. I have started to keep back or kick back up doing yoga again. I
Nice.
really like doing yoga. It's a lot easier on my joints. I have a genetic disorder where I don't have a lot of connective tissue,
Oh,
and it causes like a lot of random chronic illness. But
oh, I'm sorry to hear
um
that.
it's okay. I
Yeah.
mean, it's the cards I was dealt.
Yeah.
But so yoga is a lot easier. I can still do like isometric kind of workouts that way, and but without having to like tear up my knees like I
Yeah.
did for dance. I still need a double knee replacement, and I have since I was 16, and I'm
Jeez.
ignoring it. Um,
Oh no.
so it's good to get back into yoga. It's good to do some exercise. You really need it. So been doing some of that. Video games. I've been watching anime again recently, which is
Nice.
exciting. I am almost through Hunter x Hunter again for the fourth time.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I just recently
Oh
just finished it again for like the sixth or third time already.
my
So,
god,
it's so good.
so
It
good.
is. It's really, really good. I
Brilliant. And so, of course, I'm like over there, like adding things to my Amazon cart while watching it, being like, no, 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 no. I'm going to do a palm cosplay. I'm doing FRP2. Like, I can't stop. But it's been fun. Like, I've been scheduling in break time, which is
good.
something that I didn't do last year. And it was a big mistake. Um, and so I've been like making sure I don't work anymore after like 8 or 9 p.m. I'm like, no working,
Yeah,
play games,
good.
watch anime,
Yeah.
relax.
Yeah.
So I've been doing that. Been trying to hang out with friends more and be social. Because that's important for our
Yeah.
mental health.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah, exactly.
And so that's been fun, but I'm an introvert, so sometimes I forget to initiate social interaction, but then
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, I'm lonely. And it's like, well, it's your own fault.
Yeah.
Um, and so I've been hanging out with people. I've gone to a couple concerts lately, which I love going to anything live music. And so I've been doing some fun things lately, actually. But yeah.
That's great. That's awesome. Well, that's
Mm,
good that you're making time for yourself and
yeah.
you're doing your own thing. What concert have you recently been to?
I went to Alt J.
Alt
Um,
J. I don't know if
Alt
I've heard of
J. I listen to weird bands, which is obviously that's on brand. That's on brand.
it. Okay.
But yeah, they're a very interesting band. I don't know what you call their genre, somewhere between like indie alternative electronic, somewhere in that. It's just three band members, but it was really, really good. It was a 10-year album. It was a 10-year album show, and I had seen them tour for that album 10 years ago. So
Yeah.
that was really cool. I was like, oh,
That's
this is
awesome.
special.
Oh.
College me, we had such a good time. Now I'm 30 and I'm old and my legs hurt from standing here, but I'm having a good time.
I know
But
that.
yeah, I was
Yeah,
like, wow, I don't remember standing at concerts being so
yeah,
painful.
right. Yeah.
But yeah, so saw Alt J. That was fun.
Yeah, I'll have to check them out then. I'll have to, sounds pretty cool, interesting band, mix
They're
of,
weird.
are they? All right.
They're weird. They're if you like fuzzy but funky bass lines, then you might enjoy them.
Yeah, I'll check them out. I listen to try to expand my music brand all the time, so I'm down to listen to them for sure.
Don't
Uh,
judge me.
yeah, no, I won't judge you. No, I promise I won't email you after and be like, what did I
You
listen
have terrible taste in music. I'm deleting this episode of the podcast.
This one's actually not getting released. Um, and last and final question. I work for a company called Anime Village, and this is their podcast. So what we do at Anime Village is we create our own anime. We're creating our own mangas, and off those mangas we have our, all four genres of anime, which is like shonen and adventure, slice of life, and all that good supernatural. So what we're doing is we're writing our mangas, but we're also creating video games based off those. And someone that likes to play video games and who is also into anime, we kind of wanted to get your thoughts on what we're doing over here at Anime Village.
Honestly, that sounds really cool. I'm gonna have to like look it up immediately when I get off this call because
Yeah.
I remember seeing that in some of the stuff you sent me and being really interested in that. But that's really cool. I think um I know like Nier Automata did that recently, like obviously as a game, but then they released an anime that like kind of expanded upon what
Yeah.
is also written in their literary works too, because I have the books because I'm crazy. Um, and so stuff like that is really, really cool for people like me anyway. I love seeing like the same characters and world in multiple different ways of absorbing the information. So like visual media, like reading it, watching it, playing it. I think that's really cool because I feel like you can emphasize very different aspects of those worlds and characters. You know, how you would go about telling those stories would be very different in
Yeah.
all three of those, you know, I guess like genres. But that sounds really fun. That
Yeah.
sounds really fun.
Thank you. Yeah, we'll have to once we
Yeah.
get more stuff out there. I know we're working on the RPG right now, and I
Ooh.
think we're kind of redoing. We're going through some reworks with the manga right now, redrawings and stuff like that. So should be good. We'll get you some more stuff over to you as well for sure.
That's awesome. I love RPGs.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, so it'll be fun. I'm excited. It's gonna be really cool to get it out there.
Yeah.
But Eryn, that's all the questions I have for you today. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
And like, thank you for being here, and thanks for dealing with the technical difficulties before on air. Because
No
appreciate,
problem. It was fun. This is delightful.
yeah, appreciate it.
Mm.
Can you just tell people where they can find you? Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, where they can look
Yeah.
you
You can find me at all of the places pretty much.
up.
At Ithileryn, Ithileryn. It's hard to spell. I'm sorry.
It's all good. We'll put it in the bio
But
and
yes.
YouTube as well.
But yeah, it's just Ithileryn everywhere. Luckily, I don't have to really struggle to get my name on any social media. So just Ithileryn everywhere.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Eryn.
Mhm.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you.